I spent 1 year reading nothing but dead guys, right? Not the modern stuff, but what did the old writers say about, I think in that particular year, it was faith-based stuff. C.S. Lewis, Chronicles of Narnia, love every bit of it. But when I try to read his other books, I find them quite daunting. I read The Great Divorce. It was highly recommended. And I would tell people after I finished it, I loved that book. It profoundly changed my life and my way of thinking. What's it about? Couldn't tell you. I went into this year thinking that I was going to do a podcast on C.S. Lewis books, just me and C.S., like prayerfully entering into these books, asking God to help me understand them. And I'm reading Mere Christianity, and I'm not seeing a podcast coming out of it. However, are there some nuggets in here that are worth, I don't know if he's British, I don't know if it's the time frame that he wrote it, I don't know what it is that makes it, he's intellectual at the very least. But listen to this gems like this. When we read in the Bible, it says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, which looks as if everything depended on us and our good actions. But the second half of that verse says, for it is God who works in you, which looks as if God did everything and we did nothing. So now we're trying to understand and to separate into watertight compartments what exactly God does and what man does when God and man are working together. And so we begin to think of it like two men working together. But this way of thinking doesn't work. It breaks down because God is not like that. Isn't that, there are verses in the Bible and there are things that we find baffling, right? And really hard to understand. And a lot of times we just have to rely on faith. So, C.S. Lewis, have you read it? What are your thoughts on it? I'd still love to discuss it with people. However, I don't get a lot of it. So, what do you know of C.S. Lewis? Completely fascinated by the man. I know this. I've watched every documentary I can find on him. And he wrote, for what it's worth, he wrote in Mere Christianity. This was written right around the time of war. He had been an atheist. He converted to Christianity. And this was a series of radio talk shows. So he was just doing interviews trying to explain Christianity from someone who had newly become a believer but had questioned it along the way and had worked out a lot of really difficult concepts. And the radio series was so well received that it became a book. So there's plenty of good stuff out there, and I think it's still worth pursuing. But you got any thoughts or help for processing C.S. Lewis?